blurry, by the way, don't worry about it. It's recording separate.
Gotcha.
What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan, and today we have a special guest. Actually, lives about an hour away. Hopping on, replacing Josh. We have Jeff Singh. Jeff, what is going on?
How's it going, everybody? I'm excited to be here. I was a last minute show here, so let's get it. Let's get it on. I might make some mistakes here. It's my first time, so glad to be here, though.
You're good. There's really, Jeff. I don't think you can make any mistakes because we're just gonna talk ball. We're gonna. Jeff is not part of our bet league, but Jeff is going to talk about our picks. Jeff is going to tell us what he likes for his picks. I'm gonna have Jeff make a couple picks here, so it'll be fun. We'll have a good time with you on here, Jeff. Um, first things first, Jeff. Um, you tell them what you do. They know about me. You can tell your job. You got your favorite. You're repping your favorite team today. Um, Anything you want to share for the people?
Um, First things first is we are not tanking for Caleb Williams. Just want to throw that out there. Cardinals are not tanking for Williams. All right. Kyler Murray is going to be back within the next 2 weeks. He's not going to be back this week because they don't want to get him killed versus Baltimore. But bold prediction is he plays lights out when he does start for the rest of the season because he's either playing to be a starter on another team or he's playing to be a starter moving forward with the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't think he's the greatest quarterback in the world, but I think he has matured based on reports, obviously. But I think he's matured, and I think he's ready to take leadership. And I think that's what the Arizona Cardinals need at this point. They have a pretty good front office, GM. So that's my favorite team. That's my bold prediction. A little bit about me. I do IT for a living. I own my own medical IT business. And I also work full time doing the same thing. And currently living on a farm, so Starlink is holding up
Oh yeah,
for this,
yeah.
which is great.
Hopefully you stick with us throughout the whole thing. Uh, he does IT. If you need any IT work, shoot us a message. Jeff is looking to expand. So if you happen to stumble upon us, Jeff does a great job. I know he works for one of our friends up in New York area. You got some offices down here in Florida. So hit him up. He could do it anywhere. He did some stuff on my computer. So and then the last thing, Starlink. Our friend Josh is the other one who's the other co-host of the podcast who's not with us. The reason why he's not with us, he's also on Starlink, but he's in a camper and he's starting to travel the United States, and his journey started yesterday. So he drove about 6 hours. We're literally coast to coast right now. He is on the Oregon coast, but his Starlink isn't connecting. So where he's at, he's not even getting text messages. So he's not going to be with us this time, but Josh will probably be back with us. So thank you, Jeff, for stepping in. Um, Here is our picks. I'm going to go ahead and pull the picks up on the screen. And then I'm just going to leave them up for a second so y'all can kind of see. And then we're going to do a perfect segue because you already started talking about the Cardinals and the Ravens with Kyler Murray not playing this week. But here is the records. You can see some of us already took the Bills. We're going to talk about them all. We're actually going to start with the Bills, then go with Jeff and Kyler, and we'll go from there. But Josh has got the one game lead. It's cut down. Josh did have a 5-game lead at one point. That's how good of betting he is. He's 24-11, and he had a 5-game lead. He's had a couple of 1-4 weeks in a row. Me and Bobby are in second place, 23-12. Ram, 22-13. Will Squag, 21-14. Alex, 21-14. Nick, 20-15. Caden and Garrett, 19-16. Remember, this is a $20 pot just for everybody at the beginning of the year, so a chance to win $200. And the last place, we're going to come up with a punishment here soon, and the last place will do a punishment. All right, and Jeff, you got this pulled up, I see, so I'm going to go ahead and take it down. And the first game we'll talk about, since it's already happened, Bills was the favorite for 4 of us this week, 40% of the league. Bills they came back, they finally won a game. They beat the Buccaneers 24-18. I personally think that the Bills still aren't right. 24-18, only a 6-point win over the Buccaneers and did not cover the spread. I was not impressed with the performance. What do you, Jeff?
All right, yeah,
Oh,
I almost lost you. Sorry, I was
You're good.
pulling up some of these games so that I can get a little situated here.
You're good.
So overall, the Bills probably would have been my pick as well for this week, or the Ravens. I mean, you can't really go wrong with either one. But one thing with the Bills that scares me is other than that Miami game, they don't look that great. They're making a lot of mental mistakes. Josh Allen is forcing the ball. He's turning it over. It doesn't feel like those Bills teams from the past years that went to the AFC Championship game to lose to Mahomes. It just doesn't seem like they're just on that level. And, that's why I almost get a little skeptical when I pick the Bills because I just don't see them dominating with the team that they have.
Right. And the one thing I did like about the Bills this week, they did run Allen a little more. He went 7 for 41. He did pass for 324 yards, but still very underwhelming win when you're only beating these Bucks and giving up 18 points to these Bucks who aren't scoring all that well this year. If you look at the Bucks' previous games, the Bucks scored 13 against the Falcons, 6 against the Lions. They did put up 26 against the Saints, but 11 against the Eagles. Put up 27 against the Bears, who have the worst defense in the league, and only 20 against the Vikings. So I'm not impressed with this Bills win, which does suck because Bills, I mean, I do appreciate the Bills, how good of a roster they have and the opportunity they have to go far. But you look at their last, what, 4 or 5 games, you lose to the Jaguars in London, and at that point, I'm like, okay, they coming off dominating the Dolphins. You lose to the Jaguars in London. I'm like, oh, you know what? They just bad trans. Jags were there for a week already. Just thought it was just the lag game. Then come back 14-9 against the Giants and should have lost that game. And I'm like, okay, they came back from London, another lag, and then get beat by the Patriots, and then an underwhelming against the Bucks. Do you think that the Bills have a chance of making the Super Bowl in the AFC anymore?
Good, hold up.
You're good. We have a little bit of lag between us, so it's gonna be a second.
No, you're fine. I was looking at the schedule, and then one of those pop-up videos came up, so I was like, "Where is this coming from?" Anyway, so right now, no, Bills do not have a chance. It's the Chiefs all the way from what I see.
Right.
One thing that's scary is the Bills' defense seemed to have regressed, and the Chiefs' defense has seemed to have improved.
Right.
In comparison to previous years where Mahomes is kind of carrying the load. I don't see that this year. I see the Chiefs with a much improved defense. One player I feel on the Bills offense that I do want to give a shout out to is Gabe Davis. He's been actually playing very well. I know that he had a little bit of scrutiny. The first couple of games this season, he didn't really have great games, but I see Josh Allen kind of starting to trust him a little bit more again. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is a huge target, but when teams start to key on Diggs, Allen's going to need to utilize his other weapons. He can't just use Diggs, and that's where you would see him struggle. Where now I think if Davis steps up, gets into his role a little bit more, I think that they will improve. But I just don't see that defense being able to keep them in it because obviously defenses are where playoff football really starts.
And not only Gabe Davis, you saw Dalton Kincaid get a touchdown last week. Knox hasn't played all that terrible to start the year. But I don't think they've all played well at the same time, and I think that's what the Bills need to consistently for them to be good. Because here's the other question: are the Bills in trouble of not making the playoffs? Because hear me out. They're 5-3 right now, but if I go and I'll tell you the standings in a little bit. Actually, I'll tell you the standings right now.
I'd have to see their schedule, their remaining schedule.
I'm going to tell you that right. I'm going to tell you that right now after this. Right now, the Bills are. Where are they at? Buffalo. They are the 7th seed right now. Okay, because Pittsburgh. So your wild card teams are 4-2 Pittsburgh, 4-2 Cleveland. But going down the list, you have the 3-3 Texans, the 3-3 Jets, the 3-3 Bengals. The Colts are 3-4. Vegas is 3-4. Tennessee's 3-4.
So let's slow it down and start with Steelers. They're pretenders. I don't see them being able to make the playoffs, even the wild card this season. No. I just don't. Like, we can X them out. So right now they might be in playoff contention, but by the end of the season, I just don't see them being able. Their offense is not consistent, and their defense will not be able to win because they're going to be playing some high-powered offenses, and that's just not sustainable. It's just like the Jets.
Can I tell you something about the Steelers real quick? Because I was going to bring this up when they played. Steelers in their last 15, what do you think their record is? After their last 15? After the terrible start last year, their last 15 games, they're
probably 10-5.
11-4. That's a good guess. I am on the opposite fence of the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to surprise and knock out a team like the Bengals, Bills, or somebody that we think that they're going to have a great push, especially if Deontay Johnson keeps having the impact he had this last week coming back. The offense looks so much better with Deontay Johnson in it. And then not only that, Pat Freiermuth is hurt. When he comes back, that's another target. And the Steelers, I think we've talked about their schedule next week, and we'll get to the Steelers in a second. I think the Steelers have a very favorable schedule, especially if they can steal one against the Jags this week. And then again, one more thing about the Steelers is Tomlin, despite the roster, figures out ways to win games and make the playoffs. Now with the Jags emerging, the Ravens back in the mix, I think that the Steelers can be a team, but
I see the Bengals. I just don't see. I see the Bengals starting to. I mean, they're going to start to get healthy. Yeah. I mean, you see Joe Burrow. The first couple weeks of the season, he looked terrible. He looked immobile at some times. It pains me to say that T. Higgins can't get any worse because I have him in like 2 or 3 fantasy leagues.
I have him in our league.
He can't get any worse, right? Like, at what point do you just drop the guy, right? So I think he's going to improve. I think that offense is going to click. The Browns are a team that I don't see making the playoffs.
I agree.
They just, with the Chubb injury, now Jerome Ford's playing well, but I just don't see them. I mean, he's injured as well.
He's out this week,
I don't see them making playoffs. Ravens, definitely playoff team. So Steelers, could they sneak in? Yes. Like, am I saying they have no chance? No, but I don't see them making playoffs. Yeah. I see them more at a 500 or like an 8 and 9 team. But I would have to really take a look at their schedule because right now I'm looking at the Bills schedule, right?
Right. And I think it's kind of tough if you look at it.
The Bills schedule, they play the Bengals.
Yeah.
But then they have 2 weeks where they should win. Like they
should win. They should win. But you saw how they played against the Giants, and they've already lost to the Jets, who had the soul-crushing injury of the year in that game, with Rodgers going down in that game, and they lost to the Jets.
But it's very tough in football. Like, you would know that, like, the first game of the season, the first 2 games of the season are really just like outliers. That's where anything goes, right? I think with the Bills just kind of being, 11 weeks in, I think they're not going to have that same type of a game against the Jets. I don't see them losing 2 games in one season versus the Jets. I just don't. Broncos, I don't see them losing that either.
I don't see them losing that one either.
it comes to they hit the Philadelphia Eagles, which I mean that might end up being a shootout. Honestly,
Yep.
um,
Chiefs.
they have a bye, and then they go Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers.
All three tough games.
There's like a 5-week stretch with a bye mixed in to where they could potentially go 0-4, but I don't see them losing to the Cowboys just because they're very inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
Right. And then Bills should be able to win against New England, and they have Miami week 18. So
Yeah.
you're looking at I mean, they have a pretty tough schedule. Could they miss it? Yes.
We have Josh Allen will have to outlast. I mean, here's the quarterbacks that Josh Allen will have to outlast real quick. Let me he has to outlast two of these or three of these quarterbacks. I mean, he can't be beat by three of these quarterbacks. He's got to outlast Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, who seems to be injured every week and is going to be out for a little bit. CJ Stroud, Zach Wilson / Aaron Rodgers if he comes back. Joe Burrow, that's your toughest quarterback. Gardner Minshew, the mixture between Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo, Malik Willis or Levis, whoever ends up getting that starting position after a while. Justin Herbert, who's basically got a 1.5 game lead on. Mac Jones, Russell Wilson. So he's got a very favorable list to outlast, but they almost lost to Tyrod Taylor and the 1-5 Giants. They lost to Mac Jones already. They lost to Trevor Lawrence's team, who was struggling at the time. And they just barely beat Baker Mayfield.
I think the Bucs are not that bad.
Yeah, I agree. Not that bad.
I see them as a middle of the pack type of team. Maybe even a little bit above average, just because they do have a lot of offensive weapons, and Baker Mayfield is not afraid to sling that ball. And they got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They have the wide receivers around him. The only problem I see with the Bucs is the run game. It's just not getting going at all.
And that's the biggest problem.
But other than that, they seem like a team that could potentially win any given week, as long as obviously they don't turn the ball over and certain factors.
Yeah, and it looks like Falcons are 1 game up, but I think Falcons are the favorite to win that division at this point too.
Ritter's playing better. He's playing much better. Yeah, so the Bills, it's going to come down to the wire. You know, I think they're definitely not going to win their division, but I think they're going to be a 7-6 seed. They're not going to be that 5 seed for sure. Probably six if it's favorable, 7 sneaking in.
And that's going to be tough to who gets that 2 seed as well. If they get that, or the 2 or 3 seed, you know, first round matchup, you get the Bills. You know, and it's wide open, so we can look at that later. But Jeff, because I'm looking at Josh's name. Jeff, who's your favorite this week? A favorite. So they got to be favored throughout the week. Money line favorite. They don't have to cover the spread. You got Miami -8. You got Jets -3 against the Giants. So Miami plays the Patriots. Jaguars are favored against the Steelers. Falcons against the Titans. Texans against the Panthers. I'm saying the favorites first, by the way. Cowboys against the Rams. Vikings are favored the Packers. Saints favorite the Colts. Eagles favorite the Commanders. Seahawks favorite the Browns. Ravens favorite the Cardinals. Chiefs favorite the Broncos. 49ers favorite the Bengals. Chargers favorite the Bears, almost 10-point favorites. And Lions favorite the Raiders. Who's your favorite of the week?
I guess my main question would be, somebody's at the door.
Oh, go get it.
Is Justin Fields playing?
Justin Fields is not playing.
I think that really affects the pick. For
Chargers favorite.
I would say Chargers. Now, if I would love to go Ravens, but Lamar Jackson has been so spotty. He had one really good game, and other than that one really good game, it's been it's been an
And-
up and down performance for him, and a lot
Yeah.
more lows. But I'll be
And
right
I
back.
think, yeah,
I'll
you're
be right
good.
back.
So segue into that, Ravens, the Ravens Cardinals. Ravens are favorited by, where is it at? By 9.5 points. Lamar had a great week last week. Lamar went off. The Ravens offense looked great coming off that London game. Um, the Cardinals still uh, don't have Connor. Josh Dobbs' magic is kind of run out. I think Josh Dobbs had a great start to the year. His magic's kind of run out. That's Josh's favorite at 24-11. He took the Ravens. I don't disagree with that pick. I mean, the Cardinals got to play perfect ball for the Raven to beat the Ravens, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the Cardinals, okay, because I watch all of their games. I mean, I have Red Zone on, but like I will watch their entire game every single week.
Right.
There's times where they're like the type of team that's real scrappy on defense. They'll cause turnovers, and they'll be able to potentially, quote unquote, keep the team in the game, right?
Right.
The problem is Josh Dobbs cannot get them touchdowns. Sometimes they get a turnover at the 50-yard line. You would expect at least 10 yards and get a field goal, and they can't even get that. And that's just, from an NFL standpoint, that's losing football. Because when you have 3 turnovers, 3-0 turnovers, you know this as well as anybody else, you should win that game. When you're +3 in the turnover margin, 80% of the time your team's going to win. And that hasn't been the case with the Cardinals because their offense is just anemic. And Josh Dobbs is part of that problem. He had 1 or 2 pretty good games, and that's about it.
I hate playing this game, and I am not a Kyler Murray lover. If Kyler Murray was playing, the Cardinals are 1-6. What do you think the record is with Kyler Murray?
It would be right around 500. So you could give it a 4-3, a 4-3, or a 3-4. I don't think that they would be, a playoff, a playoff contender, crazy team or anything like that because we don't have defensive backs. There's no corners. Okay, they have Marco Wilson who's just getting torched every single week. They have some young players that I think are going to develop pretty well. One thing I will say is Budda Baker is back. He missed from the Cowboys game all the way to this past week. So he was out about 4 weeks. He's the main player on that defense.
And their defense struggled in those weeks.
All those weeks. So I think having him back, John Connor's injury is a lot more is very important to that type of a team, especially with a Josh Dobbs at quarterback. So I think they would be realistically 3-4, 4-3. They wouldn't have lost to the Giants. That's for sure.
I agree.
They would have beat the Washington Commanders. They would have probably started 2-0, honestly.
Yeah.
And then
3-0 because they beat the Cowboys.
Because then they beat the Cowboys. So they probably would have started 3-0. So I'll say 4-3. I'd say 4-3 just based on their team.
I'm on the 3-4 team. I think that the other losses are, the 49ers, Bengals, I think that stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams beat them pretty handedly. And
McVay owns them.
McVay is the Seahawks. So maybe they could have beat the Seahawks. It was a 20-10 game, but
that's the game right there, Dylan. They had a +3 turnover margin, and they couldn't score more than 10 points.
And that's what I said. Yeah, so maybe 4-3. Because that's what I said too. Because I said that.
So maybe even 5 and maybe even 5 if you really think about it. Because they started 3-0. No, 4-3. 4-3.
Yeah, because the Bengals, 49ers, and Rams losses
would have been losses. Yeah, we'll chalk them up as losses. But that Seahawks game should not have been a loss. It shouldn't have been with any other quarterback.
The next favorites that were picked, Chiefs over the Broncos. We just saw them play last week. Even though the Chiefs, 2 weeks ago, even though the Chiefs they didn't overwhelmingly win that game against the Broncos. I think it was pretty much in hand. It was a Thursday night game. They were cruising. T Swift was in the crowd. They're in Denver this time. I think they won 19-8. I think the Chiefs handily win this game too. I don't see the Broncos competing.
I am such a skeptical fan when it comes to divisional games.
Yeah,
because anything goes. I don't see divisional games as it doesn't matter how good the team is. There's always that chance, and I feel like there should be statistics to back this somewhere.
Well, I got one for you right here. Anything goes against division games unless you're Patrick Mahomes, who is 29-3 against the AFC West in his career. So,
and that's including the Chargers with some really good teams.
And the two of his losses were to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, exactly. But so they had Derek Carr. Okay, yeah. let's start to think about the quarterback.
But Derek Carr played well. Derek Carr played really well.
I don't mind Derek Carr as a quarterback. Yeah. I see him more. I see the Raiders. They went sideways with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's the same exact quarterback. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't see anyone being better or worse there. But yes, okay. With that stat, Patrick Mahomes might be an outlier, but for the most part, has he lost to the Broncos?
I think one of his losses.
I feel like
was
one of them
Broncos.
had to have been against.
One of them was the only one that didn't beat him was the Raiders. Tom Brady against the AFC East was 90-22. 29-3. He's on pace to shatter that too. Let's just say he wins this game, he's 30-3, and you multiply that by 3 to get to the 90 wins. Mm-hmm. He's going to be 90-9. 90-9, yeah. Right. I got Chiefs. I don't think it's a question.
It shouldn't be a question, but I will always ride that line of divisional games scare me, especially when it comes to betting. I wouldn't bet a lot of money just because it's a divisional game. That's me.
Here's a game I wouldn't have touched with the 10-foot pole. Alex took the Cowboys money line against the Rams.
No way.
I know the Rams have struggled a little bit, but the Cowboys I think Cowboys are the best team there is right now. And the NFC West kind of plays that smash mouth type football on defense. That you saw Dak struggle against the Arizona Cardinal defense. I think they're going to struggle against the Rams defense. I think this is more of a get right game for the offense of the Rams. You're depleted at defensive back right now, and you have to guard Cooper and Puka. I think this game is just. Can the Cowboys win? Absolutely. Should they be 7-point favorites against the Rams? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And can the Rams win this game? Absolutely. I wouldn't have taken it either way on a money line game. But
on a spread, that seems like an easy spread for me to pick. At 7.5, I think the game is going to be a 3-point, 4-point game. I don't see it more than that. I would probably, if I were to bet that game, I would move the line down to probably about 3.5 or 4.5. Yeah, I don't see it that much of a gap. Also, the Cowboys, how much of that loss, and this is kind of giving the Cowboys some leeway here. How much of that loss against the Cardinals was Jonathan Gannon knowing the Cowboys?
They couldn't do anything on offense, and they just moved the ball with ease on defense.
Him being an Eagles coach, defensive coordinator, I think that had a lot to do with the game planning. He knew Dak Prescott. He's played against him or coached against him how many times in his career already. So I don't want to take that loss as more than it was,
Right. I just 7 points. I think this is more of a, like you said, a 3.5 favorite Cowboys. But I think the Rams could easily win this game too.
Rams offense is good. It's a good offense. They are missing Kyren Williams though. He's on IR, and he was a huge reason that they were clicking on all cylinders.
The only thing else I can kind of say about this is McVay had a baby this week. Maybe McVay not being there to help prep for the Cowboys could be an issue. But when it comes down right now, I mean, talent-wise, I think the Cowboys are a more talented team, but I think the Rams could win this game.
Rams are a better coach team.
Yeah. Two more favorites, and we're going to move to the upsets, and we are moving very, very slow, just letting you know. So we're going to speed up a little bit.
All right, let's go.
We talked about the Bills way too long. That's the problem we had. This is an interesting game, too. Dolphins, 5-2 favorites, 8-point favorites against the Patriots. I think 8 points against a Belichick team is a lot of points as well. But hear me out. Hear me out. Listen to the Patriots covered the spread against the Eagles. 5-point spread. Covered the spread against the Dolphins. That was a 7-point spread. They lost by 7. They beat the Jets, and they weren't favorites, so they covered the spread. Cowboys, they did not. Saints, they did not. They got blown out. They covered the spread against the Raiders, and they beat the Bills. I think Dolphins win. I think 8 points. I think that the Patriots can also cover the spread.
I think the Dolphins cover the spread in this.
Do you think the Dolphins blow them out?
I think that it's going to be a two touchdown game. It's probably going to be 10 plus points. I would probably take a 9.5 spread, 10.5, somewhere around there.
Go ahead.
My thought here is they cover the spread against you mentioned it, the Eagles and the Dolphins and the Jets they beat. Yeah. But the first 3 games of the season, the Patriots didn't look like a bad team.
Well, they came back, but they didn't look like a bad team last week.
But prior to that, you're looking at embarrassing losses to the Cowboys, to the Saints, the Raiders. I mean, it's the Raiders, also the Raiders with O'Connell, not even Jimmy Garoppolo. So, there's a lot of factors to take into it. I think that the Dolphins are going to win this handedly, and that's with me also being that skeptical person of divisional games.
Yeah. I think I'm more – me and you are reversed. I'm more Chiefs are going to win handedly. Dolphins, I think the Patriots are going to scare them a little bit. I think the Patriots are going to come out and punch them in the mouth. Lions, favorites. Huge favorites. I love seeing the Lions this big of favorites. 8 or 7.5 point favorites hosting the Jimmy Garoppolo-less Raiders on Monday Night Football. And again, sorry, Nick, I don't disagree with your pick, and I don't disagree with the Lions as a favorite here. Lions should win this game. I don't think we have much to say about it. Devontae Adams is demanding the ball more. But who's going to get him the ball?
Is this in Detroit?
This is in Detroit.
Lions will win. Lions will win by over a touchdown for sure.
Yeah,
in Detroit.
Yeah. Upsets. We're on our upsets. Jeff, which team do you think can upset somebody this week? You said no to the Patriots. Giants. Can they upset the Jets? Can the Steelers upset the Jags? Titans upset the Falcons. Panthers upset Houston. The Rams upset the Cowboys. Packers upset the Vikings. Saints that line moved big time.
What, Saints?
Saints did. So when we send out our odds, we go by Wednesday's odds. That gives everybody 3 days to pick because we're all human and have stuff to do. The Saints were not favorites in the game, and now the Saints are favorites. Who do you think's got the upset this week? Bengals upset the 49ers?
I don't see the 49ers losing another game straight. They went how many games straight with a win? Yeah, and then they lost 2 straight, correct?
Yeah.
I don't see that going.
That's a bad loss to the Vikings.
The Vikings aren't a very bad team, though.
They're not.
That's why like everybody being shocked about that loss. It wasn't shocking to me. Kirk Cousins is not that bad of a quarterback. Like people think that he's Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr. Like he's much better.
I've said on this show many times there is no Kirk slander allowed, but no Jay Jettas. Your run game, the Guess how many touchdowns the Vikings have scored on the ground this year?
1 probably.
0.
0.
No touchdowns on the ground. You have no run game, and they got to pass the ball, and the 49ers having that great of a defense, losing that game with
Did you
no
think
Justin
that
Jefferson?
Dalvin Cook being released was going to hurt them that bad? Did you really think that? Because Madison has played very well when
I did not.
Injured. I didn't expect that at all. But clearly
Dalvin Cook's that good. Oh yeah.
He meant a
well,
lot.
Well, Dalvin Cook's also more of a threat in the pass game too.
Correct.
Than at Madison.
So when it comes to so we can get this going along, I know that you're looking at upsets, right?
Yes, money line upset.
I don't want to go with the Steelers.
I don't hate that pick at all.
I don't hate that pick, but I don't want to go with them because it's a pride thing. I was just trashing them and saying that they're not going to make the playoffs. So I don't think that they're going to win. I think the Giants or the Giants or the Panthers.
I don't hate the Panthers either because this is a game that Bryce Young has to play well
in. So here's my thing. It is very hard for a team to go defeated for an entire season. Just 0-17. Where do you see the Panthers winning a game?
I mean, not very many.
If I look at their schedule, this might be their shot to win a game this season.
Since 1960, there's been 5, but those are all weird seasons. 2008, you had the 0-16 Lions, and 2017, you had the 0-16 Browns.
I forgot about the Browns. Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Browns.
I just like the Texans with DeMeco Ryans too much to bet against the Texans too.
Yeah. I really like the Texans. I like their defense. Stroud is lights out. Nico Collins, I drafted him in so many fantasy leagues because I knew he was going to go off this season, and he has. Yeah. So I like that team. Dameon Pierce hasn't been playing that well, and they're still 3-3. So I think if he picks it up, they're a tough team to beat, but they're young. The Panthers at this point are playing for pride, and looking at their schedule.
And they have no first-round pick, so they're not tanking.
No first. Looking at their schedule, they play Texans, Colts, and then Bears. So the next game that they could really have a good chance of winning would be against the Bears. Chicago Bears.
I mean, Colts aren't great either. They could beat the Colts, but I don't think they do beat the Colts.
But they're playing in Carolina against the Texans. And I think that has a lot to do with why I would say Panthers have a really, really good shot of upsetting. I really do think.
This group has been known for taking the Texans in their upsets. Texans are actually favored. But this week, no one took the Texans as a favorite. And Nick and Garrett took the Panthers. They are with you on their picks. So you have two other ones. I don't hate the pick at all because you got 2 rookie quarterbacks and anything can happen. Mm-hmm. But I am higher on the Texans. And I think that the Texans get the job done this week. And this will be a good win for the Texans, even though it's 0-6 Panthers. I think this could almost be a trap game, and I think they can come in and just shove their foot down their throats. Josh took the Saints. Again, Saints, Colts. I know Colts just had a shootout win. I don't think I was going to touch this game. The Gardner Minshew plays really, really well against man-to-man defense, and Saints plays a lot of man-to-man. So I know that the Saints defense has been playing well, but I think this game could be a shootout, or this game's going to be close, and I don't like picking close games, I don't think.
I think I'm going to change my pick to the Giants.
I like it because Rams with you too. Rammy is with you on that too.
When it comes to the Giants, okay, I'm a huge Danny Dimes fan, okay? Yep. I think that offensive line did him no justice this year. They got him killed. A lot of people hate Daniel Jones. I think if he wasn't behind that offensive line, I think he's a average to above average quarterback.
Yeah.
The skill set that he has is very tough to find in the NFL.
And he
And
had a great year last year too.
he had a great year last year. I don't think that was a fluke. I think that Tyrod Taylor right now is playing to potentially be the starter moving forward. Okay.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I think that the Giants defense has played very well the past couple of weeks, even in the 2 losses prior
They
to
played well.
the 2 wins, right? Giants, it's sneaky, right? Could they make the playoffs?
I don't think so. But
I don't think so, but looking at their schedule, okay, and looking at where they're at right now,
yeah.
they might finish close to 500.
Yeah.
They could finish. They play the Raiders after the Jets. You're talking Jets. If they beat the Jets, I would favorite them against the Raiders personally. If they beat the Jets this week, they could potentially be. What are they right now? 2-4. They would be at
2-5.
2-5. They would be at 4-5.
Yep.
They would then have 2 divisional games, which we all know divisional games. You have Cowboys and Commanders, and then Patriots. This stretch right here, if the Giants could win 4 of the next 5, I think obviously Tyrod Taylor is a big part of that. Saquon Barkley is back.
Yeah.
They might be sneaky here. They might start to cause some noise.
And they're only 1 game out of the playoffs right now. The 7 seed Vikings. The Vikings at 3-4 are the 7 seed in the playoffs right now. So they're not out of it by all means. I mean, nobody's out of it yet, but I mean, I'd say the only teams out of it maybe are the Cardinals and the Panthers, Bears.
Yeah.
Bears possibly too, but their division's not that tough.
I see. So they also play the Packers, the Saints.
Yeah.
Packers, Saints.
A lot of winnable games.
Yeah. Patriots, winnable. Commanders, winnable. Cowboys might be the one game where I'm like, they probably don't have a chance based on the first game of the season, but divisional. And Raiders, Jets, dude, they could really win 2, 3, 4, 5. They could win 5 out of the next 7.
And we say winnable, but they're also losable. So they got to come out with the wins.
For sure. Yeah. Saquon Barkley's back though. I think that has a lot to do with why I would want to spotlight a little bit on the Giants there.
Yeah. So we got those. Bobby and Will, Bengals fans, took the Bengals to beat the 49ers. I can see it. I mean, Burrow's looking better. I don't think we have much to say about it. We could talk about this game when we get to the over-unders because did anybody take it? I thought they did. Oh, no, maybe they took it off. Nobody took this over-under, so we can go ahead and talk about it. Bengals, Joe Burrow looks good. Higgins is I think Higgins is finally fully healthy. I just think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and this is going to be a dogfight, and either team can win it. But it's hard to say the 49ers are going to lose 3 straight, but it's also – we're at that time of the year where the Bengals just turn it on and they turn up. So this is gonna be my favorite.
What is it? 40? What's the line?
It is 44. I think. Let's see here. Where'd it go? It is. Oh, I have to get it on my photos. This game is 45.5. $45.5.
I would not bet this over under at all because it can go. It'll go 2 ways here. The Bengals might score a lot of points.
Yeah,
the Bengals could potentially put up 30 points. I mean, not easily, but I could see them going 31 points. And then you're telling me that the 49ers don't have the offensive firepower to put up 21, 22.
Good, yeah. I think it's going to be a great game.
So I'm really excited for that game. I would go under because I just don't see the 49ers. They're not going. I can't see them losing 3 straight after winning 15 straight. That's just Crazy.
This could be like a 2017 type game, maybe 24-21, and the 24-21 doesn't clear the over. So
Exactly.
yeah. I took the Browns as my underdog. Browns are on the road in Seattle. They're 4-2. Both teams are 4-2. The Browns defenses look good. Seattle hasn't impressed me enough to say, hey, they're going to beat the Browns handedly. But the only thing is the Browns are going to Seattle, but they're still playing at a 1:00 time. The defense, it's spooky season, and Myles Garrett loves the spooky season. The line was like 1.5 when I took it. That did move back, so I'm guessing Watson's not out. Sorry, it was 3 points. PJ Walker's playing good enough to win. Why not? Browns beat the Seattle Seahawks.
I think Jerome Ford being out Jerome Ford was giving him chunk plays. Kareem Hunt was giving him goal line plays, and that's where you can't have a goal line back at this point because Kareem Hunt, he's older, he's losing a little bit of those explosive plays. I feel he looks slower than he did when he was obviously with the Chiefs or a couple of years ago when he was 1-2 with Nick Chubb. One thing I do see the Browns having like going for them is Seattle relies on their run game a lot to clear up space for Geno Smith, and I think that the Browns have one of the better run defenses in the NFL. So I don't hate that pick. I don't.
Browns have the best defense in the league.
Best. Like, there you go.
And they just gave up 31 points to the Colts.
Yeah, I think that's one of those outliers. I don't see that.
It was just one of those games.
Yeah, I don't see that happening again.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see what else we got here. That is all the pick. No, Caden took the Titans. I told myself Caden. Let's see, Titans are.
Is he the one in last place right now?
Yes, he's tied for last.
He's desperate.
They're playing the Falcons 2.5 points. I don't hate the pick because the Falcons are going to blow them out, and the Titans are that type of team that But I'm not taking a Ryan Tannehill / Malik Willis offense ever again. I bet on them twice this year, and they lost 27-3 one time I bet on them. I'm not taking I won't touch the Titans with the 10-foot pole. But I think
what I like about that pick, the defensive line for the Titans is strong. It's a solid defensive line. With Jeffrey Simmons, you have solid players, right? I just don't know. Is Desmond Ridder for real? Because the past couple of games, he's played very well. He started the season terribly bad, and now he's picked it up. So is he going to continue that? If he continues that, Titans I don't see them having a chance.
Right.
If Ridder starts to have to throw the ball, force them to throw it, Bijan Robinson, hopefully he's healthy this week, and Tyler Algier, if they can't get the ball moving, I think that it's going to be a close game and it could potentially go Tennessee's way. Is it in Tennessee?
Yeah. It is in Tennessee, yes.
Okay, so that also plays a little bit of a factor for me as well. So they have a good chance.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but because the Falcons don't blow teams out. But again, I'm not touching that game. I'm just not. Over unders. I'm just we're gonna fly through these.
Yep.
I just want you to tell me over under. Well, first, I want you to say I'm gonna tell you the pick, and you're gonna say it's gonna hit or it's not gonna hit. Okay. And give me a one line of why you think it will, or one line you think it won't. Okay. Houston, Carolina over 43. That's Josh's pick.
Under.
Why?
Texans defense.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I think this is a toss up because I think the rookies are either gonna show out or the rookies are going to struggle against each other, trying to outdo each other. So I don't mind this pick. Me and Bobby Bobby Nick Caden all took Eagles Washington over 43.5.
Over.
Yeah.
And I would have to say Sam Howell.
Yeah. Sam Howell. And the last time they played it, it hit the over. It was like 31 to
28 or something like
20,
that.
Yeah, something crazy. Houston, Carolina was another pick. That was Rams. Baltimore, Arizona. 2 people picked it. Will and Alex over 44.
So you're looking at about 22 points each team. I will say over.
Yeah.
And I will say Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I'm gonna say under ball control. Both teams play small ball. They don't really air it out deep. They a lot of clock going off, and the other thing, blowout. I think the Baltimore beats them handedly, and blowouts tend to hit the under. My favorite game of the week, the one I cannot watch, Jaguars Pittsburgh over 41.5. Under.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say under because of the Steelers defense. More specifically, the Steelers front seven.
Yeah. I think toss up. And I think again it's if both teams take care of the ball, it hits the over. Both teams, both teams have potential on both sides of the ball to hit the over and the under. Seattle, Cleveland, 39.5 points. This is Garrett's pick.
Oh, this is I almost have to go over. That's such a low 39. I mean, come on now. You're talking 20 to 19, 20 to 20, 21 to 20. I'll say over, and that's my only reason is because it's a low over under.
I think that the Giants is set at 35.5 right now too, by the way. That's over. A game that's
I would still go over.
Yeah. Cincinnati and San Francisco, someone did take it. And you already said under the 45.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kansas City, Denver. This is my pick. This is Will's pick. This is Alex's, and this is Caden's. 47 points under over.
Over because Chiefs are going to have a big enough lead, and Broncos are going to be having to catch up, and they will make it a game. Maybe towards the end. Yeah.
Okay. I went under. Just. The game was close last time. It was 19-8.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chiefs are going to handily win this one this time, and it's going to be like a 31-7 game. Chicago Chargers 46.5.
With no Justin Fields.
With no Justin Fields.
Under.
I love that pick. That's probably my favorite pick. Let's see. I think we touched on Vegas and Denver. Vegas and Detroit, 45.5 with no Jimmy Garoppolo.
I would want to look at the past games for the Lions, but I feel like they've been scoring a decent amount of points this year.
Yeah, they only didn't hit the under like twice so far.
I would say that they stay consistent. They go over.
Yeah.
I would say over, and mainly because Jared Goff, man, I think he was done so dirty by the Rams, and you know what?
That was the biggest win-win trade of the century right there.
Yeah,
or of the decade, whichever one's the 10 years. Decade.
That was a great trade.
Yep. Spreads. Josh, Bobby, and I all took Vikings -1.5. Do they cover against the Packers, or do the Packers beat the cover against? Because the Packers can lose by 1 still and it cover. Vikings 1.5. Who covers?
Vikings.
Love it.
For sure.
Jaguars. This is Ram and Caden -2.5 against Steelers. They got to win by a field goal.
Cover.
Do you think cover too? I think they come out with the win here too.
Yeah, they cover.
Rams +6.5 against the Cowboys. It's a tough one.
Yeah. That's I wouldn't bet that
7.5 now.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet that.
That's Will's.
I actually think the Rams cover. I think the
Yep.
Rams keep
I
it
love it.
close. It's like a 3-point, 4-point game.
Bengals 5.5 plus 5.5. They're underdogs against the 49ers.
This would be my pick to try and make some extra money by picking the Bengals.
Yeah,
To
I
cover.
think they cover too. I think it's a
Yeah.
3-point game.
Yep.
Jets -3 against the Giants.
I picked the Giants to cover.
Yeah. Lions 8.5. Oh, I take the Jets, by the way. I think the Jets, they're playing strong football. Lions -8.5 against the Vegas Raiders.
Has the Raiders defense been terrible this year? I can't.
No, except the Bears. The Bears just blew them out.
Yeah, and that game is all I can really think about. So I
Yeah.
will go with the Lions to cover.
And the Chiefs, I already know your answer. Chiefs -7.5. You think the Broncos play within that 7.5 this time, right?
Within 7.5, yeah, I think so. I would
Okay.
pick the Broncos to cover.
Jeff, we got one more thing to do. We do it at the end of every single thing, and we are out of here. This is the Weddle. Have you played the Weddle before? Weddle. So just guess me a player on offense. Any NFL player on offense.
For what though?
Just guess a player, and you'll see. I'll explain it as we go.
Let's go. Oh wait, no, the Bills already played. So let's go. Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnson. So what we got here is we have a player that is in the NFC because none of these are highlighted. So they're in the NFC. He is not a wide receiver, but he's taller than 6'4", and he's older and has a higher number. So this is going to be probably an AFC quarterback that's tall, or NFC quarterback that's tall. So we're just trying to guess the player.
That hits what? Over 6'4"?
Over 6'4". And in the NFC.
Darren Waller.
Oh, we could try. Yeah, we could try tight end.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, this guy's in the NFC East and the tight end. He's 6'6". Okay, so he's older than 30. So it's going to be a Cowboy, a Eagle, or a Cowboys, Eagle, or Commander. Oh, I know. This has got to be Logan Thomas. Being older than that, boom. You just got to guess the player. Now, this is where it gets hard. Now you know what we're doing. Defense or offense or kicker or punter on any team. Give me what you got.
Kicker, punter. Let's go ahead and do. Let's do Marco Wilson.
Marco Wilson. Okay, this guy is in the NFC. He's on defense because defense is yellow. He's taller than 6 foot. And we know his age. And
he needs to be in the NFC?
Yep, he's going to be in the NFC, just not the NFC West. A defender, not in the NFC West. And not a cornerback.
Taller than 6.
Yeah, so probably a lineman, defensive lineman.
Yeah, or even like a linebacker. So you could do Hassan Reddick.
Is he taller than 6 foot? He's 6'1". He's a linebacker. Not in the NFC, not in the NFC East. A linebacker, so NFC South or NFC North. By the way, I think D just got beaten.
In Gucci?
He got beaten Gucci, and he removed all of his reactions on the. He laughed at everyone who didn't pick him and got.
Let's do Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark. Okay, so this is an NFC North linebacker though. So Vikings, Bears, or let's do Kendricks for the Bears. Or who is it? The old Bills guy. The middle linebacker.
Bills guy. I mean, I know Edmonds, but
Edmonds.
Is it?
Edmonds. Is it Tremaine?
Terrell. It's Terrell Edmonds.
Terrell's the linebacker?
Yeah, but I don't think he's that tall.
I think it's Tremaine. It's Chicago. It was Tremaine.
Oh, okay.
Chicago. So another linebacker for Chicago. Do you know any other linebackers for Chicago? Oh man, this is where it gets tough because you got to think of a
A
linebacker. From Chicago.
linebacker for the Bears.
Yeah, and it's not the best linebacker. Oh,
I'm stumped.
I think Madden. You just gotta think Madden. That's
know,
how
but-
Squawk does the next one we do. Squawk's so good at because of Madden. I don't know. Who's the guy that just came from the Eagles? Is it TJ Edwards or is it Hicks? I think those are your other two linebackers.
Yeah, but I don't think Hicks. They need to be 6.
It was
Was
TJ
it?
Edwards.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, last game. This is the Immaculate Grid. Have you played an Immaculate Grid?
No.
Okay, these are fun. We have to name players that played. You have to match the grid. So this grid right here, they played for the Bills and they played for the Lions. This grid, they played for the Bills and they played for the Browns. Bills and Texans. Okay.
And it's
Seahawks,
one
Lions.
player. One player.
One player. Any player you got. This one's tough. And you can't do like D'Amico Ryans here because D'Amico Ryans
He's
obviously
a coach.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bills and Lions.
Bills and Lions.
Uh,
And you can go any order you want. You don't have to go Bills, Lions. You can go anywhere you want to go. We could take turns and pick players, or we can try to just do it together. However you want to do it.
you can go ahead and try first, I guess.
Okay. I think the one that sticks out to me the most is right in the middle. My pot smoking friend Josh Gordon. Started off with the Browns, went to Seattle. I picked him up in fantasy.
I thought it had to be a current player.
No. Any player at any time.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Like another good one that people usually take is, and I'm going to go ahead and get it on here because he played for so many teams, and he's probably in every grid. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So anybody.
And there could be multiple answers.
You can only pick like Ryan Fitzpatrick for one, and if you pick him and you miss it, you don't get him. You can't get them.
Gotcha. Okay.
I got another one. This guy's name was a color. First name was a color. He played for Seattle, wide receiver. First play. What do you get for first place?
Champ. A trophy.
Golden Tate.
Damn, yeah, you're better at this one than me. Shit.
Oh, Squawk. I've maybe gotten 5 Immaculate Grids my whole time. Squawk, I have it on TikTok. Squawk flew through it, said it was easy. Got it within like a minute. Got the Immaculate
this
Grid.
one?
No, it's different. You get one a day, so it's different. So you can see it on you can see it on the TikTok.
Oh yeah, I'd have to check that out. That's kind of crazy to me.
I got one more, and I think I'm completely out.
Go ahead.
My last one right here is Tyrod.
Okay.
Yeah, and then other than that, I think there's a safety or the corner, the not Stingley, but the corner that plays for the Texans, or I might have it backwards. He played for the Texans.
Desmond King?
Desmond King, but no.
No.
I think he plays for the 49ers now, or did. I'm getting him confused with Madden.
Ward?
But I think he played a little corner and safety, but I can't think of his name.
I just feel like
This is tough Because you have 3 teams that have been so irrelevant for a while.
That's what I'm saying. The Browns, Lions, and Texans are really tough teams to go, and
Yeah.
even the Bills, like until
Yeah.
recently, like I feel like the one wide receiver from the Lions, was it like Bryant Johnson or something? Wasn't he? Who?
Stevie Johnson? For Bills?
Did he play with the Lions?
Stevie played for the Bills. I don't know if he played for the Lions.
Because he played on a couple teams.
Yeah.
Browns 49ers is tough. That's where like I would assume like a D lineman or something.
Yeah. Well, I know Clowney played for the we could have used him in the
Texans.
Josh Gordon spot.
And
he played for Texans too?
Clowney? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got drafted by the Texans.
Okay, because I had him in the middle slot too, but I went Josh Gordon.
So we got Jadeveon Clowney.
I know Brian Hoyer played for the Texans, but he played for the Patriots for a long time and now on the Raiders.
Brian Hoyer played for the Browns too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. But that's not the grid. I'm just thinking. Man. Yeah, I mean, I would.
All right. Well, we got 5. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we missed. Jimmy Ward, that's the guy I was talking about. Jimmy Ward. And then Jeff Garcia,
yeah,
was the top answer for both of those. Reggie Bush, I did not know played for the Lions.
I would never have gotten that.
All right, man. Well, this has been fun. Jeff, we'll hope to have you on more. Listen, anytime you want to come on, we do Tuesday nights and we do Saturday mornings. We just had a lot going on with my mom being in town and Josh starting his trip. So usually Saturday, anytime you want to come on, you're welcome. Thank you. And that is all for the Coast to Coast this week.